hilarious. Hey guys, I'm LYZABETH Lopez, registered holistic nutritionist and master trainer, and I'm here with the very beautiful Esme, hourglass girl, client, and super teeny waist girl. Look at this waist, it's insane. And today we're gonna talk to you about how to get a tiny waist, right? It's like, and the abs too. Give it to me. I can't. Okay.
I'll give it all I can give.
We're gonna talk about how to get a tiny waist with you today, and we're gonna do it through teaching you how to have an internal corset of abdominal strength that will literally take inches off your waist 100% naturally. But first, let's just do a little bit of myth dispelling. Are you ready? Are you ready? I don't know what this is, but whatever.
She's ready.
I don't know, I'm tired. Okay, so let's talk about actual corsets that people use, which I happen to have two right here just for the sake of showing these. Ta-da! Okay, so this one is one of the ones that you'll see all over social media, which is the latex version, and this is the one that has like boning in it. That is pretty intense, and it actually like laces up. So these are corsets that you've probably seen a lot. See people with promo codes selling them to you saying, get a waist like me by selling these. And they give you their promo code so you can purchase it. So let's talk about these for a second, and I'm gonna give you just my own personal opinion on them. And you can further research on your own for whatever you choose to do with it, okay? So first of all, latex versus corset. So again, this one is boned. This one is not boned, meaning I can't bend this. It has thick, I can't remember what they're made of, to be perfectly honest, but you can't bend it. This one obviously is very bendable, it's latex. So technically this one will shrink your waist, but here is the issue I have with that. If you were to go on YouTube or somewhere and look for women that do wear these, and I like no shade at all, whatever people choose to do, more power to you. But just my opinion on health-wise, how I feel about these. I find a lot of the women that are wearing these, yes, their waist is smaller, but from what I've seen, they have to wear it like 20 hours a day minimum. So you're wearing it. You need to keep pulling it tighter. It's restricting the breathing, and some of them might die from it at a very young age. And you can look this up yourself and see it. Personally, I'm feeling that this is not the ideal situation. And again, it's not shade. Do what you want to do. I'm just sharing my own health opinion on it. This one here, which is the latex version that again you kind of see everywhere. Here's the issue I have with this one. Here at Hourglass, I have girls that do show up and they'll be wearing it under their clothing. And I've had girls almost pass out wearing them. And here's a couple of reasons why that might happen. One, where this would cover, okay, we have our organs. They're important. When we sweat, here's the thing. When we're working out, we sweat. Part of the reason that we're sweating is it's the whole purpose of sweating pretty much is to cool off the body. Okay, we're hot, cooling off the body. This is latex. So we sweat and you're like, woo, look at all the sweat under there. Oh yeah. But your body's trying to cool off. Your body is saying, I am hot. My organs are right here and it's all hot. And then you're saying that I don't care. just deal with it. I'm just gonna make you hotter. I don't think that is necessarily very healthy. I think if our body's trying to cool itself off, I think we should let it. And the other thing is, when you're sweating off water, you're not sweating off fat. Okay, so just keep that in mind. When you drink water again, that's in your body again. So you're not actually losing pounds of fat by sweating out water and electrolytes and minerals. Okay, so just kind of know the difference between those things. Another thing is that personally, me online, I have a semi-small waist, and I am on social media, so I get a lot of emails from different waist training companies saying, you have a small waist, we would like to send you our waist trainer, and please say that you use it. We will give you this promo code and we will pay you thousands of dollars to do so. So I'm not saying that anyone else is using it and saying that. I'm sure lots of people might actually be using them and selling them, but the fact that they want to ask me to say I use it when I don't and give a promo code, it just kind of, that was my first concern, because I said to them, but I've never used your product. I did this through Pilates, and that was not so much of a concern. The next thing is that I find that they'll say, a reason to use them is it makes your core stronger, okay? It strengthens your core. It actually does the exact opposite. It acts as your core, right? So you put it on, and it's holding you up. So your abs and low back can say, I don't need to work. Something else is working for me. So it's actually making your abs and low back weaker. So there's no patent magic pill. I'm not a huge fan of these. Actually, one last thing is when you're working out, you're going harder, which means you need more oxygen. Your oxygen needs to get all the way through the body very quickly because we're breathing more quickly. So we need more oxygen to get all the vitamins and minerals through the body, get all the carbon dioxide and everything out of the body. If we're restricting our breathing, and if we can't breathe as deeply because this might be restricting our breathing, that's another issue I have, because with exercise, you need to be able to do that deep breathing. So one of the things is a lot of people will put corsets on, and they think that they need to flatten their belly, but sometimes it's other things like food sensitivities that are actually causing you to have bloating versus actually having a big waist. So sometimes something like this can be a bit of a Band-Aid solution that we're looking for, where we're actually should be going and seeing, is there something going on in our body where maybe we're having the wrong foods? So technically we need to see what's going on inside and try not to do the Band-Aid solution. But I will give you one exception to this rule where I do think some doctors will actually recommend this, but it is only the one circumstance, so don't get overexcited out there. This is for women that have had babies, okay, and you have something called diastasis recti, where your abs have actually separated and they've come apart due to the pregnancy, which doesn't happen to all pregnant women, but it does happen to some. And there is doctors that will work with women and have this not as tight as this one particularly, but they do put it on and it helps to bind it back together. I don't know technically exactly what it's doing, because I'm not a doctor, but I do think it should be doctor supervised, and I do think that you should actually be clinically diagnosed with the diastasis recti, where the ribs have separated, or the muscles have separated. So that's one place where I've seen it actually has been helpful. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't believe there's a magic pill, but I do think that instead of putting on an external corset, you can work your internal corset. Did you know we have one? Because we do. It's very exciting. We have all these magic things called abdominals. There's a whole bunch of them. There's the we're very used to the rectus, okay, which is that's I got a little six pack happening there. She does too. If we laugh, we see all the little all coming on down, and that's the part we're used to seeing, is that six pack. But we have this very deep internal abdominal area called the transverse abdominis, okay, which is amazing. And it acts as an internal corset. And when I studied Pilates, I can't remember how long, it was like 8 years ago or something like that, I used the Pilates zip up breathing, and I actually cinched my ribs, my waist, everything in, and I lost inches everywhere. My ribs used to actually flare out because I started training so young and I was doing it improperly, and it caused my ribs to come out a bit from just breathing wrong and training wrong. And I taught myself to pull everything back in, and I'm doing it right now. It's kind of like I say, like, you know, when you're doing like the Kegels and nobody knows, there's just, you can just, like, I'm cinched right now, right? So you can just, and I do it all the time. Like I'll walk down the street and I'm like, I'm just gonna zip up. And I will walk down the street and I'm all zipped up. So let's teach you how to zip up. And then we're gonna teach you specifically how to train the transverse abdominis, so you can also cinch your waist. And also when you learn to do this and you're actually learning how to contract, you're learning how to use your abdominal muscles and your transverse abdominis, all the exercises you ever do for abs from here on in will be so much harder because you're doing them right versus just throwing yourself around and saying I'm doing some abs. And you're like, I'm so strong because my abs aren't sore the next day. You're probably not doing it right. Okay, so let's teach you how to do it right. Let's do a little zip up. Me and Esme are gonna do this together. We're gonna wrap our hands around our ribs. Yep, so fingers here and thumb is there. Perfect. We're gonna take a deep breath in and we're gonna make the ribs go wide. And we're gonna exhale and pull them together. Blow out all of the air. Pull it in. Good, and breathe. But keep it tight, 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 tight. Yes? Very tight. Are you doing it? Are you doing it? Move the hands down in line with the belly button. Now breathe, and in Pilates, we breathe this way. Yoga, it's more that way. Okay, so we do these differently, and this is not a vacuum. This is a Pilates zip up. They are different, okay? So breathe into your sides. Inhale. Make the sides come out, and exhale. Bring ribs together. Ribs together, belly button tight, and you're not like tight, you're telling yourself, you're giving it a direction of in, this way. Tight, tight, give it to me, give it to me. Good. Now we're gonna go right here, so kind of the SI steps right here. Good, right there. Put your hands, yes. Inhale, exhale, pull this in muscularly. Pull it in. Here, pull those ribs, pull it in. Drop this down, make it as flat as possible, pull everything in. We've got one more to do. Do it again, are you contracted? Good. Now the Kegels, we'll just go like this. You're zipping up, like if you had to pee, and you're gonna not let yourself pee, pull up, okay? So we're gonna start, ready? Starting from here, inhale. And exhale, pull together. Pull together, flatten out, pull Kegels up. You are now zipped. Hold your zip, hold your zip. Just stand here, are we all doing it? I'm standing here. Now my favorite thing, I've mentioned this before, I like to just walk a block or two and just say, okay, when I hit that next block, I'm gonna relax, okay? And then maybe one more time in that day, I'm gonna do it again. And in, yep, I'm all zipped, and I'm gonna walk again. But Esme is now gonna show you some exercises specifically for the transverse abdominis, which is going to cinch and cinch and cinch, hopefully permanently for you. And you have to do the zip up the whole time. Who's ready? Who's ready? This is not a real-time workout, but we will put one out to show you actually a transverse abdominis full workout. But right now we're just gonna show you how to do the moves so you know how to do them. Are you ready?
All right, ready.
You excited?
So excited.
So she's so excited. Don't leave me hanging. Boom.
That was a terrible one too. I was like, ah.
You're so funny. Okay, come on down. We're gonna start off with dun dun dun. Did the zip up. We're going for plank variations. Plank is probably the #1 exercise people know of for the transverse abdominis, okay? So get into plank position. Here are a couple of tips that I like for plank. So one, she's doing this perfectly, neutral spine, okay? Next thing for like a more intense plank, yep, I like to have the hand right in line, and I like to have the elbows right underneath the shoulders, and she, in the plank position, is going to zip up, keeping the neutral spine and zipping up. Now, when you're doing things more properly, they become 10 times as hard. Good job. If all of a sudden you're like, I used to be able to do this for a minute, now I can only do 10 seconds, so you're probably doing it right, okay? And if you can do it for a minute properly, you're amazing. So if you're doing the zip up, why don't you even drop to your knees, Esme? Keep the bum pulled in, yep, good. Now do your zip up, ribs together, belly button in, flatten out, pull the Kegels up, and hold it, and think like 10 seconds, and then you can relax, and then you can do it again, and then you can relax. So you always want to be thinking about that zip up in your transverse abdominis exercise, and feel free to rest anytime that you need to, but doing these together, like cinch, it just takes off the inches. Okay, so different variations that you can do in plank position. I'm just gonna pop her around just so you can see some different things you do. Can you show me plank crunch? So she's going to, yep, and she's gonna contract, good. So she is doing the round and neutral, the round and neutral. Okay, so we're still working the transverse abdominis, but we're actually adding some other ab muscles in as well, all together. Good, and this is called the plank crunch. Next thing we're gonna do is a push-up from the knees, okay, but staying zipped up, because a push-up technically is kind of like a plank, moving around and adding some more upper body muscles as well, because otherwise she's in that nice planked position. So she's staying zipped up, and she's really thinking about zipping up the entire time, but also pushing through the floor and driving the floor together and just getting everything working. That's beautiful. Perfect. Okay, so those are just kind of variations that you can do in plank position, but you're always thinking of your zip up, okay? The next one we're gonna show is the flutter kick. So she's gonna roll over on her back, and we're gonna show you the perfect form for this. She's gonna put her hands under her bum. Good. Now, when she does this, she is going to lengthen out her legs. Perfect. she's going to slightly curl up. Now you can do this with your curl up or not, or you can keep your head on the floor. Before she starts, she's gonna first zip up, so she's gonna think, and exhale, ribs together, belly button down, nice and flat, kegels up, stretch out the legs, and we're going to do this type of thing. Good, so we're working not just the transverse, but we're adding some other things into it, but the transverse is definitely getting in there, and we're cinching out the waist by really working that transverse. Now we'd like to get a little lower. Yeah, there you go, and then we'll do the little crisscross. Good, now she's putting her hands under her bum to protect her back. So putting the hands under the bum, and then she pushes herself into neutral spine. Okay, perfect. Let's go on. It's an ice cream truck. It is a spaceship. The next one we're gonna show is dead bug. So dead bug, she's gonna lie down. Now, dead bug is an amazing exercise. It is a favorite of a lot of like chiropractors, physiotherapists, because it works so well, but you have to do it properly. So here's some things to think about. If you do not have back pain, you're gonna do it in this advanced position that Esme is showing with the legs straight. The goal is push your hands into the ball to start. So you wanna really just feel the proper positioning to really hit the transverse before you start moving. Then you're gonna push your legs into it, and you wanna do that and really contract your, do you feel it? Mm-hmm. Super contract your core, but you have to be very actively pushing into the ball. Now pushing into the ball, zipping up, take opposite hand, opposite leg off the ball, and bring it down to a hover, perfect hover. She's still pressing very intensely, good. And now she's going to switch, bring everything up, hold, and then bring the opposite hand and opposite leg down. Now focusing through, we call it powerhouse in Pilates. She's gonna push through her hand and foot and bring the opposite hand and leg up. Now if your lower back does not like this, or you don't have the flexibility to get there, what you can do is instead bend your knees, there you go, and you can either, and your hands still pretty high. Yep, there you go. You can either put one foot to tap the floor. Yep, everything, so you're hinging at the hip, and the opposite hand comes down. Yes, exactly. So you're doing the same movement, you're really driving your knee into the ball, good, and you're really contracting through the core. As your low back gets stronger or your flexibility increases, you can go into the more advanced position, but you still feel this one, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is for everybody, perfect. Okay, let's show one more exercise, and this is a staple in Pilates called hundreds. Oh, we love the hundreds. We love the hundreds. Okay, so she's gonna lie down. Okay, good. And what she's gonna do, we're gonna start in a level 1. In a lot of Pilates moves, we have levels like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it gets harder and harder. But level 1 is where you wanna start, even if you're advanced, because form is the most important thing in Pilates. So she's going to reach her arms forward, and she's gonna curl her head and shoulders off the floor. It's important that her spine stays neutral, so she needs to push her chin back in and let your head kind of fall back a little bit. Keep falling until you hit my hand, and push your chin back. There it is. Ooh, that's a pretty neutral spine right there. Can we hold it though? Good, and that slight curl up, she's gonna contract and zip up, and now we're going inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let me hear you breathe. And shh. I really like to hear the breathing in Pilates. Let me hear you. Okay, and the breathing is always the inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice what she's not doing is she's not coming forward, and this is still, and it's coming at a hinge at the shoulder, okay? She can, from here, go to level 2. Okay, so we're gonna go straight legs up and continue, and I'm just gonna move her through levels, good, and then we're gonna go to bent knees. And you wanna have those knees slightly in front of the hips, which is really important. There's a huge difference between this and even just this slight couple of inches where this is like so easy, right? And as soon as I do this, you're like, no, it's so hard, okay? Now give me more pulses. Boom, 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 boom. Neutral spine, abs pulled in. So mean, I'm so mean. And then the last and hardest one is right down here, and we continue and we curl up. And these are our hundreds, which are awesome cinching movements. Doesn't it feel good?
So good.
It feels so good. And that is all of our movements for our cinched waist. We will put out a video giving you an actual real-time workout with Esme, showing all of those amazing exercises so you can do it along with us. But we just wanted to first give you a full explanation of how it works and how it cinches and how to zip up and how to feel it with us. Did it feel good?
felt amazing.
Did you feel the cinch?
I felt the cinch.
We love our Pilates.
So many feelings.
So many feelings. We hope you enjoyed that video. I do feel it is an amazing way to get a teeny waist, and we've done it with hundreds, if not thousands, of Hourglass girls worldwide who have all cinched it out. Woo! So if you like this video, please give it a like down below because it helps get it out into the YouTube community, and we appreciate it so much. Please show Esme some love in the comments because she was great and she sweated it out for you, and we love her so much. And we put up videos every single week, fitness, nutrition, recipes, all that kind of good stuff, so don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in next week's video. Peace out. Bye. Hey.